Whoops. I got a little bit too close again. Just let's slow down. Technically, that should keep spinning, but okay. Oh god, what? Oh my god. All of this is getting cut out. Star Citizen's Alpha 318 update is now in Wave 1 testing on the PTU. One of the features included in 318 is the long-awaited salvage game loop, and to accompany that they have introduced the Drake Vulture, which heavily focuses on the hull stripping aspect of salvage. It is a fantastic looking little ship. I really love the design of this. A lot of people are saying it looks more like an Argo design than a Drake, but either way, it looks like a piece of equipment. You can't mistake this for anything else. The section at the front is called the Ripper, and it's outfitted with an integrated Lariat tractor rig, which is designed specifically for the Vulture. Those red beams you can see down the middle are the tractor beam, and they pull the recycled material into the main body of the ship. And at the front there are two lasers. The Vulture is 33 metres long, 16 metres wide and 9 metres tall. It has a mass of 114.591 kilos and it has a flight speed of 165 metres per second. In the rear end you can see the recycling machinery, and there is a cargo grid with capacity for 12 SCU stacked on top of each other. The Vulture includes two size 1 weapons, one either side of the cockpit, and it also holds 16 flare and 16 chaff countermeasure devices. I am already a really big fan of this ship. As I said, I absolutely love the design. I love the look of it. Again, it's got that very classic yellow and black design that we see with some real-world industrial vehicles. And it kind of gives me a little bit of a crab or lobster vibe with its shape. And I would actually quite like to see a lobster red paint made for this, just to see how it would look. But I do love the stock yellow paints that it comes in. If we head back inside through the ramp at the back, there is a ladder that goes up to the main area. Internally, there is storage for equipment and clothing, as well as for guns. And as you come into the largest room, you've got the component access, a bed for bed logging, and there is also the restroom with a toilet and shower. Through the next door up front, we have the cockpit, and there is some additional component access there. And to the side of the seat, we actually have a door, which again really evokes the design of some of the real-world industrial vehicles that you see on building sites, with a ladder down to the floor, and you can also walk along the left-hand side of the Ripper, which is handy for carrying out any repairs. Just another little aspect that I'd like to highlight is the redesigned control panel, which I pointed out when I did my cutter video, and it's also in the Corsair. It's a much better design for these door and light interfaces that you're seeing on Drake vessels. It's a small touch, but I really do appreciate this new design. It looks neater, it looks a little bit more professional, but it still has that industrial look. What we're going to do now is we're going to leave Orison and head to one of the Lagrange points. These are, at the moment, one of the best locations to go to find destroyed ships to salvage, but you can also go to various planets, and with the new persistence and soft death, any ships that get blown up, like NPC ships or player ships, they will either hang around in space most of the time for you to be able to salvage, or if you're within an atmosphere, they will fall down to the planet, and you can go down there with the Vulture or with the hand tool to do some hull scraping there. But for the moment, we're just going to take a look at the Vulture side of hull scraping. So let's get started. This does also give me a chance to point out one of the other really little changes that they're making in 3.18, but it's also quite a significant change in that the quantum boundary at Orison has been dropped. It used to be 150k, which I'm sure we all agree was far too much. It made a lot of people just not want to come to Orison, not want to use it as their starting location, because it could take a good few minutes to get out of the atmosphere. They have now dropped that limit quite significantly to just 90k. And what that means is actually only about a 10k journey from the spaceport to the boundary. That's a huge quality of life improvement for Orison, and I have a feeling when 3.18 goes to the live servers, you're going to see a lot more people now using Orison as their starting location. I think it's still going to be biased more towards New Babbage, but a lot of people like me who really adore the aesthetic of Orison will probably start using this when they restart the game after wipes, or encourage new players to start there as well, because you can get a decent amount of equipment there to get started. Okay, so I'm here at crew L2-1, and we're going to start taking a look for some salvage. So as with mining, all you need to do is scan and find some nearby resources. Of course, at first it's just going to show them as boxes, but there is now a new icon that will show you whether something is salvage, and as soon as it appears, you can see the symbol there. As I said, I will magnify that so that you guys can see it a little bit clearer. And again, it's very much like mining. You use the mining mode, and the two lasers at the front just extend like so, and we'll approach one of the nearest bits of salvage. Now, I've gotten really lucky with this because I've got lots of fragments of one ship by the look of things. So we'll approach one of them. I'm going to approach its sun side so that you can see a lot more clearly. And now let's just have a quick look at the heads-up display just to explain a couple of things. We'll start in the middle at the top. So that box there shows you your cargo capacity of 1 SCU. Now, that's not for the ship as a whole. We know it's a 12 SCU hold, but you can extract 1 SCU at a time before that then gets recycled into a container that you can move to the cargo grid. On the right hand side, you've got the extraction rates, and just below it says how many SCU you're extracting per second. That icon will change when the container is full, and you'll see that shortly. If we head down to the bottom, we've got those two big circles which represent the two lasers, and you've got your distance. Now, what they show is how much of that beam is touching recyclable material. So the more material, the closer to 100%, but as you start stripping away, that number will decrease until you move on to a different section of hull. So obviously what you're trying to do is be as efficient as possible with the use of your two lasers, and the best way to get good efficiency is to get to a distance where both lasers are hitting around the same point. You can do it so that they hit different parts, but then you've got all the manoeuvring around to make sure that both lasers are touching something at all times. Either side, the two menus are identical, so one for each laser. You've got the two different modes. You've got the cinch scraper module and the abrade scraper module. They have different strengths and widths to their beams. So if we have a look here at the abrade, you can see it has a diameter of 3.5 meters. Its speed is 0.14 SCU per second, and it's got an efficiency rating of 0.76. We switch over to the cinch, you can see that the diameter is reduced to 1.5. The speed is now 0.60 SCU per second, but the efficiency is now at 0.85. You've also got a distance to target, and that does go red if you get too close, and you do get an out of range indicator if you're too far away for the lasers to be effective. At the moment, I tend to use abrade more than anything, just because it is quicker, especially while we're in testing, because we are getting a lot of 30Ks. So I'm trying to get as much as I can as quick as possible to go back and sell. So let's get scraping. And just like with mining, if you're using your mouse, it's just the left mouse button, and you can see how the hole scraping works. And it's quite quick with abrade. You can see I've already got more than a quarter of a container. I currently have an issue with not being able to maneuver for some reason. That's what I'll do. I actually can't move left to right. Right, give me a second. Did not mean to do that. There we go. Okay, so in trying to solve the problem, I've gone and messed up a little bit. I cannot... I fixed it, and now it's being weird. So the Vulture does have a light. It's not the strongest in the world. If there's anything about this ship that I'd like to see changed, it is actually the power of this light, because it is very, very weak. I think it could be much, much better. But now... Oh, I did it again. It's because I'm not in the right mode. But what that has done is brought it back a little bit into the sunlight. And we can get scraping again. In fact, I was in the wrong mode as well. That's the cinch. You can see the difference there. That's the cinch beam. Much, much narrower. Now, I'm not completely knowledgeable about the different colour highlighting. As you can see, there's a red border around this piece. If I'm right, that means you're not going to get as high a yield. You then can have an amber or yellow line, which is a slightly better yield, and then you've got a green band, which is the highest possible yield. I believe if the more you break down a ship, so if you keep shooting it so that it blows up into more pieces, that actually increases the chances of getting a high yield. So depends whether you really want to take the time to do that. Depends on the type of ship you're blowing up. Depends on the type of ship you're using. If you're using a reclaimer, you might want to take the time to get much more material. But for something like the Vulture, I'm not really finding a need to break down components much smaller than they are. But you saw there the extraction rate box changed to a warning kind of animation to say that we have our first box ready. And I can actually hear it glitching downstairs. So let's head down. And whoa, for some reason I have two. I haven't actually attached my tractor beam yet. So you will want a tractor beam with your multi-tool so that you can move the boxes. Unfortunately, for some reason, the game decided to put one there even though I hadn't done a whole SEU. Come on. There we go. It finally escaped. And again, this gives me a chance to show off another part of 318 with the new cargo refactor, because now your cargo grids are active and you can physically place boxes in certain predetermined spots on the cargo grid. So I don't think that box actually exists. So we're going to have that problem again. Just to show you this little panel as well, you have a panel showing the filler station and how much it has in it. So you do have a couple of settings. You can have it auto eject when full, in which case a lot of this part isn't necessary. You can turn that off, so you have to come down here and manually eject the box. I typically leave it on. There is also the option to create. Now, at the moment, you can only create some cans, and those cans will fill up some recycled material as an attachment for your multi-tool to use in hull repair. What they are going to be introducing shortly is the ability to actually make a multi-tool and attachments as well from that recycled material, which is actually a really nice touch. So you don't have to go and buy one before you come out and do the salvaging. I will add a screenshot just on the side just to show you the image that's been posted of what that will look like. Okay, as is typical of the PTU in Wave 1 at the moment, I've had to relog due to issues. So I've just got to find some material again, some wreckage, some salvage. And I'm going to get 2 boxes and we'll head back and see how much we get when we sell them. Okay, so this time we've got an Avenger Titan, or some form of Avenger. So again, I'll just get us Sunwood so that we can actually see what's happening. We've got quite a lot of hull here to scrape as well, so this will be a nice illustration of the overall mechanic. So you can see there we've got the yellow border just around that underside of the hull, so that means we're going to get a slightly better yield. I'm going to go back into a braid. I'll just use that laser. And we will just scrape as much as I can. So tell me, guys, what do you think of the salvage mechanic? Do you enjoy it? Do you see yourself engaging in salvage just as its own little game loop, or do you think you'll couple it with piracy? I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of people doing the piracy aspect. Oh, there we go. So we've got rid of the glitching box now, so we can just move that onto the grid. What I want to do before I get the second box, I'm just going to maybe quarter fill, just that I can show you guys the creation of the container. Okay, so we zoom into the filler station and we go to create. We've got the Cambio SRT can, which needs 0.02 SCU of recycled material composite. Just click create. It uses a tiny amount of what you've salvaged. It's usually quicker than this, which makes me think we're getting a 30k any second. Oh no, there we go, there we go. And you just get this little container, which you should be able to pick up. But again, this is one of the little PTU bugs that I've been experiencing. No, it won't actually let me collect it from there. But what that will do is you can attach that to your multi-tool, and you can use the material inside for hull repair. I would love to be able to demonstrate it, but it's not going to let me. So I'm going to fill up the final container, and then we're going to go and hopefully sell what we've salvaged. And you can, as you see, you can stack boxes on top of each other on the cargo grids. So you can get 12 on that grid. You can potentially get a 13th and just leave it as it's where it stands after the filling station has ejected it. Okay, so the next step is to head back to a TDD on one of the planets to sell the material and see how much we get. This is usually where I get the 30Ks though, so fingers crossed. And there you go, you can see how much better it is, how much closer you are to the spaceport when you come out of Quantum. Again, fantastic quality of life improvement. Thank you very much, CIG, for that. There we go. Right, so this is the new commodities panel as well, by the way, guys. I've completely redesigned it, made it a bit more intuitive. So again, as usual, you select your ship up there. You can select subcategories if you need to. You can see your cargo grid, how many spots you've got. So I've got 2 out of 12 full. And we've got 2 SCU of recycled material composite. If I click on that, and if I increase it to sell, you can see I'm going to get 15.39k for both of those. So 15.39 divided by 2, so 7.695. We will sell that. So let's say you've got 13 boxes on there, because as I said, you can leave one straight out of the filler station. So you could easily make 100k per run. So 100k per hour, I don't think that's too bad. Not as profitable as Quantanium mining, but a lot easier, a lot faster, and I think that's a decent yield if you're using the Vulture. At some point I will take a look at the Reclaimer as well, and we will compare the profitability of that. Obviously, ideally with the Reclaimer you'd want a crew, but you can do it solo, and I know there's a lot of videos up on YouTube already for that, but I haven't used it yet. I flew it once and 30k'd, so in fact no, I didn't 30k, I glitched into a wall, I believe, so I haven't used it since, but look out for that one. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know down in the comments, do you like the Vulture? Is this a ship that you can see yourself buying in-game and using? Do you think when it goes back into the actual store, you'd buy one with real cash? Is this a kind of ship that you'd want permanently in your hangar? I have to admit, looking back at it, I kind of wish I'd bought one, but to be fair, I didn't have the money at that point, so it would have been probably a bit silly of me to do so, but I can definitely see this down the line if I do get the funds together, like having this and a Prospector as part of my hangar properly, so that I've got 2 really good ships to help me make money over the course of a period. So if you guys agree, let me know. But thank you all for watching. Keep an eye out for when the next video's up. I'm trying to get them out weekly again. Obviously, we've just had the holiday period. We've had the PTU issues. We do also have Jump Town going on as well at the moment. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so that you're aware when the next video is posted. In the meantime, I will be restarting my Twitch streams in January, so head on over to @JediAndyTV on Twitch, and you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter, and now on Hive Social under the same username. So follow me on all of those. The link to my Discord is on the Twitch and on Twitter, so come and join us in the Discord as well as we gradually build up a Star Citizen community. One of my community has started an org, so at some point we will be recruiting for that org, and somewhere down the line we will give more information about that. But guys, that's going to be it for now. I'll see you all next time.